Hey everyone, I'm really excited for today. I'm sitting down with Mr. Kwibs from Zano, and he is the head of marketing and growth. And personally, I learned about Zano almost 1 year ago, and I really took a huge liking to the project. So I'm really excited to learn more today and also just share all this information with my audience. So let's just get started and we can just talk about what Zano is. And obviously, it's a privacy token. And I just wanted to talk about how its mission was to really prioritize financial privacy.
Yeah, thank you for the quick introduction, Bree. Pleasure to be here. Yeah, so Zano is a privacy by default blockchain project. Many people, when they first hear about crypto, they make the assumption that all crypto is private by default, but that's not the case. With Bitcoin and Ethereum and practically most of the other cryptocurrencies, you can see all the data on chain, and Zano basically shields all of that. And then on top of that, we have a lot of programmability features like confidential assets, so people can create their own tokens.
Awesome, awesome. And I love how you said a lot of these tokens aren't private. We even see this with Zcash. Zcash, a lot of people think is a privacy coin, and isn't it not private by default?
No, not by default. They have Z addresses and T addresses, so a part of their transaction pool is shielded and a part is not. But the to me, this is always like the average user that they just don't know. And if your privacy is not by default, the majority of the users will always use the transparent option because they don't know better. So I think privacy should always be on by default.
Yeah, and that is the case with Zano. Okay, so let's talk about how Zano's technology like ensures that transactions will always be confidential and untraceable. If you want to explain a little bit about how that works to us.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see. The easiest way is, to take the example, for example, Bitcoin again. So if you make a Bitcoin transaction, you can see the amounts transacted. You can see a person's wallet address. So let's say I go to a shop or a store and I pay with Bitcoin there. Then the cashier can actually see my Bitcoin address and the amounts, the assets that I hold in that wallet, and the amount. Even the timestamps that I did transactions, you can link them where I did that, and with AI, you can even map it out completely, and you can. It's just super dangerous, and with Zano, all of that is hidden. So we have stealth addresses, so you cannot see the address in a transaction. We have hidden amounts, so you don't see the amounts transacted. That is shielded as well. And ring signatures basically, basically it's like a ring of people, and one Asana has 16 rings, and one of those 16 people made the real transaction, and the others are just fakes, like decoys. And this is basically how Zano's privacy works in a nutshell.
Interesting. So obviously we're hearing a lot about recently about Zcash and Monero. How would you say that Zano compares to these other coins, and why? And in terms of scalability in particular.
Okay, let's start with Monero. So Monero is, what it excels at is being peer-to-peer digital cash that is truly private. Zano's privacy features are on par with Monero's privacy features, so in that sense, it's basically similar. But where it differs is Zano has a hybrid proof of work, proof of stake consensus. So that means the blockchain alternates between proof of work and proof of stake blocks. And why that is so much better is the cost of an attack. Basically, consensus is what protects your blockchain, right? It makes sure that all the transactions are valid, basically. And the cost of an attack on Zano with a hybrid solution is just so much higher because with full proof of work, you can just rent the hash rate or fill a big building with GPUs or CPUs and basically start mining this project. And the costs to do that are relatively low compared to a hybrid solution where to attack a the network, you would need, in addition to the majority of the hash rate, you would need a significant portion of the total staked coins. Now with Zano, about 70% of the total supply is being staked. So if you need a significant portion of that, you need to buy millions of Zano coins. There are not even so many coins available on the open market, and if you would buy them, you would drive the price up, an insane amount. It is already expensive at the current price. Imagine if you're trying to accumulate them, and you just, the cost of the attack would just be so high, and it's just financially infeasible to do that. And then also, most important is that Zano is very programmable. So we have all these additional features like confidential assets, so users can create their own assets on top of Zano, and the assets are as private as native Zano itself, so they have the exact same privacy aspects to them. So you can use this technology to tokenize many things, right? Freedom Dollar uses this. I know that you're a fan of Freedom Dollar. We will get into that later as well, probably. You have confidential layers, so you can shield Bitcoin or Ethereum, any existing asset practically. Even in theory, you could tokenize real-world assets or stocks and bonds.
So a lot of tokenization is happening on Zano right now. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. I mean, it's still early. Like that, I have to be honest there. Like there are only a handful of projects building on top of Zano right now, but there are a lot of ideas. And also, we launched the Zano Grants program at the end of this year in a couple of months, and that will truly kickstart the growth of the ecosystem, because we will, be able to give people the financial means they need to create their projects on Zano.
Well,
yeah. So that will be very interesting, and then Zcash, compared to Zcash, they have optional privacy, and Zano has, this strong privacy by default. I know that Zcash is actually going in a very similar direction as us, because they are also looking into a hybrid proof of stake consensus, and they're also planning to bring confidential assets to Zcash. So in that sense, they are working on similar things, but we already have those things, and we have the strong privacy by default, of course.
Do you think when all of that happens with Zcash, they'll still be listed on all of these exchanges?
Yes, and that is the benefit of Zcash. I got to give them credit for that, right? Because it's true. They have deep liquidity. They're very well connected in the space, also with exchanges, even with institutions. They have institutional money behind them, big money. So that's why it's doing so well at the moment. It's just available on all these major platforms, where Zano is not, right? Because of our strong privacy, governments don't like that, and they force the exchanges to delist us. And that's not the case with Zcash.
Do you almost see that as a red flag for Zcash, that, these governments are not scared of it, and that they're able to be listed without the fear of almost private transactions? And obviously the government does not like that.
I mean, hard to say for me. I mean, I'm not too deep into Zcash, and I don't want to talk about things that I didn't do my research on. But yes, I mean, it sounds logical to me that if they are against privacy, I mean, they clearly are for blockchain projects. So why not delist these optional privacy projects, right? It's just because their privacy is most likely a lot weaker than the privacy by default projects.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of getting at. All right, so we're talking a lot, obviously, about confidential transactions, and I just came across something somewhat recently called confidential layer, and I'm very curious to hear more about it. To my understanding, it's like taking an asset like Bitcoin and almost giving it some type of privacy wrapper. Can you explain how this works?
Yeah, so Confidential Layer is another project that is utilizing Zano's technology. It's basically a non-custodial cross-chain bridge between blockchains, right? So you can move assets from one blockchain to another, namely Zano in this case. So Zano is basically the privacy enabler, and this is where the confidential assets technology comes in, right? So basically, when you bridge, for example, Bitcoin or Ethereum, you lock the native asset, so the real Bitcoin and the real Ethereum, you lock those on the native Bitcoin or Ethereum blockchain, and then the equivalent amount gets minted on the Zano blockchain as a confidential asset. And on Zano, I believe Confidential Layer names it BTCX and ETHX and even DAIX, and they're working. It goes really fast right now. I believe last week they also enabled Solana and Bitcoin Cash and Ton and more is coming. So you can bridge all of those today to the Zano ecosystem,
And
and
it's really
basically
easy.
upgrade them with the privacy of Zano. Yeah, it's super easy. And also a noteworthy mention here is Paul from Edge Wallet. He loves this stuff, and he really does his best to implement it
Yeah.
into Edge Wallet. And he actually, they are the first wallet that supports Zano that implemented direct in wallet swaps. So you can actually swap your Bitcoin to this private version of Bitcoin, to BTCX, all from within your Edge wallet. So all you have
And
to do
it's,
is
yeah.
hold Bitcoin on Edge, and you can just simply swap it for Bitcoin X, and there you go. You have private Bitcoin.
Yeah, I saw that on his Twitter, and he was even, I believe it was maybe at his headquarters, he was paying for something with,
Yeah,
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 BTCX, and it was pretty cool. And
it
I
is
also
super cool.
I saw on Twitter, it looked like, I don't know if he was the one that was hosting this sort of competition for people to show themselves, making Bitcoin private, but can you tell me, isn't there a little giveaway going on?
Yeah, that was created by us, that giveaway, just
Okay.
to put some more spotlight on BTCX in Edge Wallet, because it's so cool that they enabled it this early. We
Yeah.
they did it all on them, like on their own, so it wasn't even that they worked with Confidential Layer with us. They just enabled it themselves from their side, and they didn't ask for any funding or help to do it. They just did it, and yeah, that is super respectable in my opinion. So the least we could do was do this giveaway. I believe it's $600 currently up for grabs, that people can get simply by making a video of them swapping Bitcoin to BTCX in Edge Wallet and then posting it to X, and then you have a
And then
chance
tagging,
to
right?
win.
Tagging
Yeah,
Zano or okay, cool. Yeah,
yeah,
like definitely check that out. If you're watching this, it's an easy way to earn some money. I was even thinking about doing it. I was like, maybe I even show myself doing it. But yeah, definitely check that out. I think this is so cool. Yeah. This is gonna be such a game changer. I feel like also, I mean, I don't want to talk about uh price points or anything, but to my understanding, I mean, this seems like very lucrative for Zano in the future. Just everything that's being
yeah.
built. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, there's just so much happening on the Zano blockchain right now, and like I said, it's still early, but there are so many ideas and so many cool
Yeah.
things being built. One of the things I want to mention is Aaron Day is also like he's a star. I love him, and he's really pushing Zano forward a lot, and he contributes a lot to the Zano ecosystem. And he created this website called freedomforge.io, and it's amazing because it has all these, he calls them threats or problems, and then he basically explains, he proposes a solution for it, and that solution then it can be built on Zano. So all these ideas, it's basically like a huge board of ideas of what can be built on Zano. Some of them, are being built, some have already been built, and some are just ideas currently, so people could actually, create it themselves if they want to.
That's amazing. Yeah, Aaron Day does fabulous work. Big fan of him. Maybe one day I'll interview him. But yeah, so I guess a lot of people in crypto always talk about that balance between transparency and privacy. And I know we've touched on this a little bit, but how does Zano find this balance without, with ensuring trust, but also not um, releasing people's financial data?
Yeah, good question. Like in our many projects, they, now that privacy is a hot topic in crypto, they jump in on the narrative. They want to do something with privacy, so their entire their project is still transparent, but they introduce some kind of optional privacy features so that they are relevant and hopefully catch up with the hype that is going on. But at Zano, we believe that privacy should be on by default, and then you can have optional transparency, right? So not optional privacy, but optional transparency. So privacy by default, and then the option to turn on transparency when you want to. Now, from a technical perspective, it's really hard to do. So our solution isn't perfect either. I'm not going to claim it is, but we have this really cool feature named auditable wallets, which is a special type of wallet that you can create. And then that wallet has a view key, and you can share that with others, and people can then actually import that into their own Zano wallet, and then they can actually see the balance of that auditable wallet, the in and outgoing transactions, but without being able to spend, to do anything with it themselves. So, and this is a very handy technology because we use it for our development fund, for example. How where the project is funded from, basically, so people can monitor that. We are very transparent about our expenses and the amounts that we hold, and so that it gives people trust, right? Rather trust than verify. We can claim that we have a certain amount, but you'd rather see some proof. So for this, it's really handy, but also for, crowdfunding maybe, or businesses. Freedom Dollar uses it to prove their reserves that back Freedom Dollar, for example. So there are all kinds of use cases for this.
Amazing. Well, let's talk a little bit about Freedom Dollar. I think Freedom Dollar is really cool. I know it's a stablecoin built on chain, and I've heard it's a decentralized stablecoin, and I think that's really important in the times we're going into. And obviously, most stablecoins are centralized. Can you tell us a little bit about Freedom Dollar?
Yeah, Freedom Dollar started, I believe it was released in May this year, so like 6 months ago only, and it's super cool. Basically, it's pegged to the dollar, so it always has a stable value of one FUSD is always worth one US dollar, and it's backed by Zano coins, over collateralized Zano reserves that they can prove via this auditable wallet. And it's also truly censorship resistant, because many of these very popular stablecoins like USDT, like USDC, they can actually be frozen by the Tether Foundation, for example, which is very, it's essentially just a CBDC. It's programmable money. They can freeze it when they think you did something wrong. They can just freeze your money, and that's the end of your funds. They did it with hundreds of millions of Tether already. And with Freedom Dollar, you cannot do that. You cannot even see. You can't even see the amounts that people transact or hold, let alone freeze it. You just simply can't from a technical perspective. So, and that is the third point. It's also as private as native Zano, so you cannot monitor anything. So, it has a lot of potential. I think it's a very, very innovative technology that they created on Zano, and it's growing fast. It started with 100,000 FUSD, and I believe they already minted well over 6 million now as of today. And it's growing, and it's being used, and I'm really excited about it personally.
It's so easy just from a user standpoint. When I open up my Zano wallet, I have my Zano, I have however many wallets I want in there, but then also I'm able to have FUSD right in there, and I can swap back and forth. It's super user friendly just for the average consumer.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can just simply swap Zano for FUSD. You can do that via Zano Trade, which is our own decentralized exchange. It's built into the Zano mobile wallet via the browser, so you can access it there. Or even easier, Freedom Dollar has its own swap page, so you can just go to, I believe it's freedomdollar.com, and you can just simply swap your Zano for FUSD there in an instant. It's an instant swap. It's really convenient.
So a lot of people, from what I've seen, find privacy coins very intimidating. They think that they're only for people that are experts in crypto or dark web users. I really want to destroy that narrative, because privacy is for everyone. And just like how you said, privacy should be by default. And I think just the more people that we introduce to this, obviously the better. But can you just kind of break down how easy this is for the everyday person to be using Zano for everyday purchases?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting easier by the day, right? It's not super easy at the moment. I'm going to be honest about it as well. So we really value the feedback we get every day, and try to improve with the feedback that we get. But there are really practical solutions, right? You can have the Zano mobile wallet, and you for receiving payments, for example, someone from the community created Zano.cash, which is basically a point of sale system for vendors, which is really handy. At PorkFest, it was used a lot. Would love to talk about that later on as well. It was really great.
Yeah, I would love to hear about that.
Breakthrough moment for us. So it's getting more practical every day. I think one of the major hurdles at the moment is that Zano the block time is 1 minute, and you need 10 confirmations before you can respend it. So it means that when you receive a transaction, you have to wait for 10 minutes before you can send it to someone else, which isn't really practical. However, we are working on a consensus improvement, which allows us to downscale the requirement of confirmations from 10 to something much lower, and also the block time would be much less. So overall, that would improve the usability a lot. And if you compare it to Monero or Zcash, with Monero you need to wait for 10 blocks as well, but their block time is 2 minutes, so you need to wait for 20 minutes. And with Zcash, I believe faster. It's even a little bit longer even. Yeah, so it's still, at the moment, it's still faster than the competition, but it will become even faster with the consensus upgrade.
Because from what I see right now, it's like, we're able to obviously have our Zano and our wallets and be able to sit on it. It's able to grow, which is awesome from investors' perspective. But as somebody who wants to be using it day to day to obviously ensure that financial privacy, these are amazing steps that we're taking. But I also know like there are ways, and I'm not sure if you're a fan of this, but even just loading up your FUSD or your Zano onto gift cards and being able to transact that way, which obviously makes it a little bit easier. That is still using fiat in the end. But what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there are. I mean, it's good, right? It's practical. You can, like you said, you can purchase gift cards. There are websites like Trocador, but also Zano X. Zback is really cool as well. It's like a debit card that you can basically load up with Zano or FUSD. And then you can spend it anywhere MasterCard is accepted, so practically at any store.
Anywhere.
They take very little to no fees, and if used properly, it won't trigger QIC. They have this kind of light QIC. So if you put John Doe as a name, their QIC will trigger, so don't do that.
Yeah, don't use obvious things. Not something ridiculous.
Yes, and by the way, I don't recommend to not be honest ever. Like, that's not my recommendation. So use it honestly and wisely. But there are these are very practical solutions, right? They're not perfect, because in a perfect world, I would love to see all the shops accept Zano on-chain, so via Zano.cash with a point-of-sale system. So you just simply scan the QR code, send the Zano or the FUSD or whatever asset on Zano, and boom, the transaction is all done on-chain. That would be perfect and truly censorship resistant. But the reality is crypto adoption isn't there yet, and MasterCard and Visa are adopted everywhere. So might as well have this kind of bridge solution as an intermediary kind of thing.
So I just want to talk about like a little bit of a timeline. When do you think that type of adoption will take place, where people are going to be accepting Zano or different cryptocurrencies in general at any retailer?
I'm very realistic about that. I don't think the world is ever gonna, like, it would be foolish of me to claim that the whole world is gonna use this, right? But only if only 0.1% of the world would use this, it would already flourish, and it would be enough, right? So I do hope that we're going there with everything that's being built and all the on-chain activity right now, and all the people that are joining in on the Zano fun, let's call it that. The future is bright, but there needs to be some work done, as in the consensus upgrade that Andre is working on, that will really help us, make us faster and more usable. Eventually I see hundreds of projects building on top of Zano, and hundreds of vendors accepting Zano and Zano assets. So that would be really cool to see.
And I know you said you guys are soon going to have a grant program or something, so new developers are going to be able to build. I think that's amazing. So what would you say, and I know you already said the first thing that needs to be done, obviously it needs to be faster, but what are like the top 3 things you think need to be done within this next, let's say 6 months, help with the development of Zano and to make it, I guess, more user-friendly in the long run?
You mean what we are already doing, like the plans that we have, or
certain plans that you think will lead to more adoption?
Okay, so we're working on 3 programs currently, as in the marketing department. One is Zano Grants program, so it's focused at builders. So it's to attract people to build on top of our chain, right?
Hmm.
That will attract a lot of attention and surely help with the usability of Zano and Zano assets. Then we have the Zano Content Creator Program, which we plan to launch as well. No timeline for that though, because we want to do it in a fancy way with a dashboard and all, so that people can actually create content about Zano, and then they can get rewards to their Zano alias, maybe merchandise or even Zano coins as a reward for the exposure that they give us. So this will help us reach a lot of new audiences, right? So this is aimed at content creators like yourself. And then lastly, we're working on a libertarian outreach program, which I'm really excited about. So we're basically asking all the people in our network right now, because Zano is basically supposed to be, or it is the freedom economy, right? The private freedom
Hmm.
economy. And this aligns perfectly with libertarians and agorists, and therefore we think that is a perfect audience to target. So we're working on this giant spreadsheet. I also send it to you, where we collect a lot of names and then want to make warm introductions. So via someone that we already know, rather than us sending them a cold email, and then basically,
Yeah,
explain them what we're doing, and hopefully, get them to join us on our
I
mission.
love it. Very
And those
grassroots.
Yes, and those three things, I think that will give us a lot of growth on all fronts. I think that covers all the three
Yeah, no,
bases
I love that.
basically.
Those are very, very exciting things. So you mentioned this earlier, and I kind of wanted to touch upon this again. You said that people are more interested in privacy more than ever, and maybe it's obvious, but I'm curious why you think more people are now all of a sudden interested in financial privacy, especially in the crypto space.
I mean, for me, I'm not sure if it's related to the price increase, but I do feel like the privacy sector has been very undervalued for a long time in crypto.
Hmm.
So it's logical that it gains attention. Why that is happening now, I don't know. It just happens, right?
Yeah.
And there are many reasons for it. It was undervalued. Privacy just makes sense on chain. It is super unsecure to have a transparent blockchain. It's practically just unusable, both for individuals and businesses, because businesses
Yeah.
don't want their money flows to be visible, the paychecks that they give, the bonuses that they give, and individuals, it's just super unsecure, right? You can get you're just vulnerable for hacks and wrench attacks and all of that. So it's just very impractical to use a transparent blockchain. Additionally, digital IDs are a valid concern for people.
Hmm.
CBDCs are a valid concern for people. Government overreach, tighter regulations.
Is
So
all pushing
those
people
all
into.
contribute. Yeah, those all combined could. It's normal that privacy gets a lot of attention, in my opinion.
This is for everyone at this point. Everyone is scared what's happening to the dollar. People are obviously in search of gold and silver and maybe certain cryptocurrencies that really can protect them and their financial freedom for their families. So that's what I personally love Zano, and I've been able to introduce Zano to a lot of people who maybe even weren't necessarily like the biggest crypto people. So I just want to show that it really is not intimidating. It's for everyone. And also, like, the cool thing too is I think the people in the Zano community are very helpful. If you ask someone a question online, they're going to answer you for the most part, and they're going to explain it. There's so many good YouTube channels out there too. Do you want to talk about the Zano YouTube channels at all? If you
Yeah,
guys have,
and
yeah,
I completely agree with you. The Zano community is small but super helpful and especially passionate, right?
yeah,
So it's not like our channels are not filled with moon boys and people that only care about price go up and
yeah,
all of that, which is actually a good thing in my opinion. So sometimes it's a bit more quiet because it's still a small community, but the people that are there, they are there because they just align so much with what we're building. And then the YouTube channels, yes, we have a YouTube channel ourselves, which is named Zano Project. You can look it up, and we have some explainer videos there, and the monthly Inside the Zanoverse, which is our own Twitter Spaces. We upload there as well, all the episodes. And another really good one is Zano List. Zano List is a community-run YouTube channel, and I believe at last number I saw is that they created over couple hundred videos already about Zano, and they cover everything. So explainer videos about how to use Zebek, how to use Freedom Dollar, how to use Zano Trade, how to install the mobile wallet, how to create your own asset, how to do a trade on Zano Trade, anything that you can think of, any action that you can do, anything related to Zano, they have a video for it. So also huge shout out to the people behind that. One of them is Reese. He does a tremendous job at doing that. So big thank you to him.
Yeah, I recommended that channel to someone. I put on my Instagram story earlier today just how, the price has risen a lot today. And someone's like, how do I get this? And I said, like, head to this YouTube channel. All your questions will be answered. So yeah, you guys do such fabulous work on YouTube. So that's really, really amazing. Kind of want to go back to how, the original white paper for Bitcoin was peer-to-peer cash. And I really think like you guys, your entire ecosystem is all about peer-to-peer cash, especially with the wallets. Like I remember when I first learned about Zano, some of my friends, like sent me a few dollars in Zano and they're like, this is how crypto is supposed to be. And I remember just like, I thought that was so cool. And yeah, do you want to tell me a little bit about that? How you really have, I guess, honored the original purpose of crypto?
Yeah, I mean, crypto was supposed, like back in the day, Bitcoin was supposed to be like an alternative to the banking system, right? A fair, censorship-resistant alternative digital money. And today, it's far from that, right? It's centralized. It's basically in the hands of a lot of institutions and very centralized. And Zano is the opposite from that, right? We always motivate everyone to withdraw their funds into their own wallets, right? Self-custody is super important. Basically, Zano is the people's money, right? That's what we try to be, or the people's platform, I should say, because Zano itself isn't particularly money. So yeah, I think that is also why a lot of people like yourself and like Roger and Aaron, they love the project, and we love you, right? It's good to attract all these people and to work on this together. It gives us a lot of energy as well.
Yeah,
To
I just want
to do
everyone to
what we
use
do.
Zano because it would literally solve so many problems of the world if people just realize this.
Right,
That's,
absolutely, and every individual can make a huge impact, right? So please, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, join our channels. Feel free to ask any questions you might have, and participate in the events, in the giveaways that we do, and all the stuff that we have built, and spread the word. That really helps us push
yeah.
forward.
This is just like a random question. Do you think that even just the Zano wallet, I know this is obviously peer-to-peer, do you think we could ever replace like Venmo or Cash App in the sense of say, we went out to dinner and I owe you money and then you just send me a little bit of Zano or FUSD?
Totally. Yeah, we could. But the apps that you mentioned are very centralized, right?
Yeah.
And centralization gives particular benefits, like the speed of such a platform can greatly increase. So the trade-off here, once again, is you have very strong privacy and self-sovereignty, like self-custody over
Yeah.
your funds. But the trade-off is that it is kind of,
The Wild
slower, you could
West.
say. Yeah, and it's improving, but you can totally use it that way. I mean,
Yeah.
Zano mobile wallet has this built-in QR code. So if we went for dinner and we want to split the bill, you can simply I don't know, like show your Zano wallet QR code. I can just scan it and put the amount there, and boom. It still arrives instantly. It's just that you cannot spend it
Spend it right away.
for 10 minutes, but it will arrive instantly. So that is
Yeah.
it's
And
really usable already as it is.
another thing I really like are the aliases. I think that is so awesome. It makes it so much easier than having to, possibly mess up a wallet address. You could have something so short, and like I have all my little cousins, they all have Zano wallets now, and I just randomly send
I
them a
love
few
those
Zano.
videos, by the way. Yeah, I saw a bunch of your videos of this
The
kid
kids.
purchasing ice cream with Zano and their alias. It's really cool.
Yeah, make more videos with them because they're kids, they're super passionate about Zano, and it's good to show that even children can be using this, not just adults. So yeah, I guess for someone that's, let's just think of someone that's really new to crypto that is interested in buying Zano, that wants to set up a Zano wallet, what is the simplest way? Obviously, I know they can go to the YouTube channel and look at a tutorial, but if you could just explain the process quickly, and then we can also point them in the direction of YouTube.
Yeah, I'd say go to intro.zano.org. It's a special page, like a landing page for new people that we created, and it basically walks you through everything. So that the short 3-minute explainer video is at the top. Then it takes you to all the links, how you can join our community channels, how you can install a Zano wallet, where you can get your first Zano coins. So it basically walks you through the whole thing. It's as simple as that. Intro.zano.org.
Awesome. Yeah, because with Zano, it's not listed on major exchanges, so it's sometimes a little bit more difficult for people to buy. But that's great information that they can go and learn how to buy it.
Yeah, I recommend the swap. The swap platforms are probably the most user friendly, because you don't have to deal with user registration on an exchange or even KYC. You can just
swap
simply
your Bitcoin for Zano.
Swap your Bitcoin for Zano. Exactly. That's it's as simple as that. They give you a Bitcoin address, you send the Bitcoin there, and you copy paste your Zano address or alias, and they send the Zano there without any KYC usually.
What swaps
although that's the
do you
first per
recommend?
platform, so be careful.
What swaps do you
we
recommend?
love Exolix.
That's what I use.
Yes, Exolix is great. Pegasus Swap is also great, and I'm naming these two in particular because I've never had anyone complain about their platforms, not about KYC either. Some of the other swap platforms, there are many more that we are working very closely with, like Let's Exchange is a really good one, and then there's more, but some of them, they have this type of light KYC that can get triggered sometimes. If the Bitcoin that you sent is tainted, for example, it was involved in some kind of shady transaction in the past, it can trigger KYC and they will lock your funds, which is a huge risk that you're taking. So that's why I recommend Exolix and Pegasus Swap in particular.
Awesome. Well, this is great information. And then I just want to end on this note. Why do you think privacy is so important? Some people are like, oh, I have nothing to hide, and that's their reasoning for things having to be super transparent. What would be your rebuttal to that?
It would just be mainly safety, right? Safety, self-sovereignty, censorship resistance. They all go hand in hand, of course, but it's just unsafe to use a transparent blockchain for the number of reasons that we actually already discussed. But mainly that you expose all this data. We are of the opinion that the individual should be able to selectively reveal the data. You should be able to choose which financial data you want to reveal, and it shouldn't be all there public for prying eyes to see. So for that reason, I think privacy is very important. I know that privacy has a bad name, like for example with Monero, it's very much focused at the dark web. Zano is not focused on the dark web. It's for normal people. Privacy is for normal people. The entire Zano team, we're not AI robots, we're real people. That's why we're also public. I am a real person. We have nothing to hide, and it's for everyone. So yeah.
Hold up a piece of paper saying what day it is, and I'm just kidding.
All right, let me grab it.
No, but that's awesome. Well, you are doing such great work. I'm so happy that we were able to sit down and have this conversation, and hopefully this is going to inspire people to buy Zano and to just kind of take back their financial privacy, and that's why I feel so passionate about this. But is there anything else you want to say, or maybe share with us where we can follow you so that we can keep up to date with everything going on?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having me on your show. It was a pleasure to talk to you. And people can find me personally on X at Mr_Kwibs. But you can follow the project as well at Zano_project. And people don't have to start with buying Zano right away. They can just go over the intro page, and you can start by joining our community channels, ask the questions or maybe concerns that you have. participate in the giveaways and events and all the things that we have going on. There's plenty of opportunity to get some free Zano as well. If you ask for some free Zano in the channels, I'm very sure someone will even send a little bit to you so you can test it out. I'm personally happy to do that as well. And then you can, if you're happy with what you see, you can make your own decisions.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And that was much better advice than the advice I was like, everyone buy it. But that's amazing. Well,
I still think it's solid advice from you.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.